Hi everybody, and welcome to a completely different kind of test for Skykeeper. This is in fact not Skykeeper, it's a smaller, more linear walking simulator type game using a bunch of its assets and testing some of the methods that I'm using in it. The idea is to make like just a small, kind of interesting visual experience that I can send to my friends and other people to just kind of torture test my assets and the way that I'm doing things to make sure it all works properly, and kind of, get a more feel for how to complete a game and have like an actual beginning, middle, and end on something short so that I can get a feel for it whenever I work on bigger projects. So this is called Lost in the Wildwoods. As you can see, we got some wildwoods out here, but everything is really kind of blue and dull and just not all that nice to look at. And it's because of an obnoxious post-processing effect and some color changes and stuff. And that's part of the hook of the story is, you're like this. This is that same house from the coastline test, everything works the same. And I've added the ability to pick up objects, which was more difficult than I initially thought it would be, but they work pretty well. I've still got the ability to fire these balls, although I've given it physics so that it can bump objects around. And, just fun stuff. But I think I'm going to get rid of that because this isn't really a fighting game out of any way. And put the ability to pick up objects and rotate objects on right and left mouse, because that's more of what you'll be doing is carrying things around. So if I hop outside, we can see that we have a nice little path here, and nice gray things, although the red is showing up. I was thinking about maybe putting some like blood splatter around is why the red kind of shows more than anything else, but I don't know. But we notice that we have this object here, which runs away if you kick it. It's very bouncy. And if you pick it up, and not kick it, everything goes all crazy because you've just touched a magic item. And it brings the world into color, and at this point, another character would pop up and be like, hey, you actually are able to touch this thing, and you are the one who can do this to the world, help me. So the object is to pick this thing up, and carry it all the way to the other side of the island, where you'll stick it into a portal that will open up the next zone. Now, this is currently just a relatively good-sized, not even good-sized, it's a kilometer, it's just a square island that I've hoiked out of the ocean here. And it's solid, it's not going to change, but whenever you go into the other areas to do things, I'm using the world chunks just like the other stuff, because, again, I want this to have some replay value. So you'll hop into the other place, and it'll be random every time. It will be truly random. It's not going to be using any sort of sensing. You can see our day-night cycle is about to go into evening. And I've done some work on it and actually really fixed up nighttime. So let's just watch it kind of go a little bit. You can see the exponential height fog starts to act different. And I've changed the color of it and made it work differently so that it actually gives a more convincing nighttime feel. And tweaks some of the values and how it works there, so everything kind of darkens in a more homogeneous way, although this pinkiness is kind of unexpected. But that's the default sky sphere, and I just need to work on that a little bit. But if I speed it up a little, you can see how the fog rises, and the stars come out. And we get like a proper nice dark night feel. The horizon isn't white like it was before. And I probably ought to go into the post-processing a little bit and make it sense light sources, because I've dropped the saturation, because the human eye can't really pick up color in darkness. You're not using the cones, you're using the rods because they're more sensitive, so everything's more muted. And I gave it a more emphasis in the blues whenever I did that saturation reduction so that it would be nice and cool because it's nighttime. You may notice the sphere is immune to depth of field because it is slightly transparent, which you can't see right now because it's dark, but I'll show you that in a second. The sphere is actually a really heavy shader on it, material. It's kind of complicated because it's transparent and refractive and has emission coming out of that point in the middle, so it glows. If I toss it, you can track it. I did that so that you can find it at night. And it also makes it look more magic. But as a consequence, wow, I really can't pick it up. Come on. I'm just going to turn this into Rocket League and play soccer with the orb. Got it. Yeah, I don't have any UI set up right now. Absolutely none, so I can't tell exactly where the middle of the screen is looking. I turned the trace off on the thing that grabs this, because you don't actually grab the ball, you look at it, and if you hit the grab button, it sends a line trace out of the camera to see if you're trying to pick up anything. If you're not picking up anything, it, well, I have to put a condition in there because it throws an error because you tried to attach nothing to it, and it doesn't know what nothing is. Wonderful. Thank God this isn't Java or just Crash. And if it encounters a physics object, it sticks a handle on that object and you pick up the handle, and the handle picks up the object. So it's the equivalent of like getting a suction cup and you have to interact with everything with a suction cup. Or in a more literal sense is the camera isn't you and you have to reach out with the hand and grab an object, but that's just how things work in real life. So this is the area in which the portal would be. I've got some water here. The still water. It looks nice. It's doing some funky junk whenever you walk out onto it that makes it a little bit disorienting, but I kind of like that. And there's nothing here right now, because I haven't made it yet. So there, the portal would have one of these already in it, and you'd stick the other one in and it would go and do all kinds of stuff, and I'm dreading making the effects do that, but as you can see, it's becoming daytime. The day-night cycle is pretty quick. I kind of like... Whoa. Yeah, this thing is going to be fun to track down. It's going to be like... Lost in the Wildwoods, I guess, is going to be like a collectathon. Where I think there may be some things that will attack you, and I don't really know if you'll have any recourse against them attacking you or just running away. But it's designed to be kept simple. It's fun, you know, just walk around the things and explore the maps. It's supposed to have good replay value because the world's different every time. I'm going to be putting the Wandering Woods in there like in Skykeeper, and I really need to work on how you pick this thing up, because if you pick it up directly in the middle, the depth of field starts acting on it. And it goes all weird. This island is also in no way complete. I can't get out of my little crater here. As you can see, there's no real trees around yet, and there was over there, because I haven't finished going around the entire island yet. Adding all of the foliage and things, because I'm spending some time on it. In fact, this is sort of just an extension of, I like using assets that I already have to make woods and things. I love painting landscapes, it's super fun, and it's fun to make new ones, and you know, there's little spots like, all right, here it's bumpy. I need to go in there and fix that. Need to change the angle in which you can walk, because we're getting a little bit Skyrim horsey in here. And I'm considering slowing down the character a little bit, because this whole island is like, I think it's just over a kilometer is what its size is. Well, with the ocean encroaching on it, probably about a kilometer. And you can walk across it in just a couple of minutes, and I know for a fact, you know, a kilometer is about half miles, 2.4 of them, don't quote me on that, in a mile. And walking across it in a couple of minutes, like, this is like 30 miles an hour, you can't do that. Whereas this is the normal walk speed, and I consider this walk, but this is probably maximum run speed, but it feels kind of slow. So I might change that, who knows. But considering this is just supposed to be something kind of short and it's designed for exploration, some speed might be nice. I've also brought back these trees with the big hexagonal leaves as part of my more simple art style. In fact, the character is going to be like a little geometric cloaked figure. So I think this fits, although I have gone in and added their branches so that they look a little bit nicer whenever you look up through them. Just toss the ball over there. So yeah, that's there. I've got the same rocks with the moss on them, and doing some more testing on the waterfall. Like I added some displacement on the rocks, and it actually kind of looks alright here. And testing the gaps between the river segments is covering them up with rocks like this. Oh, here's the ball. It's following me now. Turned out looking really nice. Here we can actually see where the orb is transparent. You can see there's reflections on the front side of it, but if you can look through it and see, like, yeah, there's the leaves on the trees over there and everything. But it's only slightly transparent. It's dark. I had a lot of fun making that. And it's probably something that nobody will ever notice unless they really look at it, but then again, you're spending a lot of time carrying the ball. And now we're out of the woods. So this is just the area that needed to fix. I'm debating on whether or not I should make the next area, like, open plains. I'm also thinking about making some mesa stuff, but that would involve making another terrain material, but there's no issue in that. Because these are actually fairly easy to make look nice. I mean, you can kind of see the striations in this because I've gone in and nested the texture. Yeah, nested the texture within itself to make it have more detail, which turned out to be an excellent effect. So my ground has lots of detail in it with almost no effort, and I'm really kind of stoked about that. Just in general, I'm just happy with the way this stuff looks for somebody who's so generally unexperienced with this. Like, I've only been working with this for less than a year. And, like, I'm not even trying at anything photorealistic, because, I mean, I've still got this sort of art style thing going on, but I'm liking it. So that's the tour of the island. I might give more updates on this as I complete it, if I can speak English. If it actually turns out to be, you know, like a competent game, I might publish it somewhere, although I'd have to go get in touch with the Unreal legal team, but, you know, sell it on Steam for $5. Let me know if you'd buy it.